வெல்கம் டு ஆன் ரெக்கார்ட். இன்றைக்கு நம்மோடு நேர்காணலுக்காக சிறப்பு விருந்தினராக செயற்பாட்டாளர் டீஸ்டா செதல்வாத் அவர்கள் இணைந்திருக்கிறார். அவர்களோடு தான் இன்றைக்கு நாம் ஆங்கிலத்தில் உரையாடவிருக்கிறோம். மேம், வெல்கம் டு அவர் ஷோ. ஐ எம் வெரி ஹாப்பி டு
Always a
ஹோஸ்ட் யூ
pleasure.
அகெயின் இன் திஸ்.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Always a pleasure. Yeah.
Ma'am, we all know that the Maharashtra Assembly election is happening and the campaign is going on. Uh, we can see there are multifaceted plots in this election. Sena versus Sena, NCP versus NCP, Congress versus BJP, and Mahavikas Agadi versus Mahayuti. Uh, what are the main plots in this Maharashtra election that you see now?
Actually, that's a very good question because it's a complicated election and very complicated for us also as journalists and observers to understand. If you just give me a few minutes to begin with, Indra, I'd like to explain to your viewers what we tried to do, some of us groups, to understand how this post the Lok Sabha elections particularly, because as you know, 2019 was the last Vidhan Sabha assembly election. And after that, you saw this poaching on the Shiv Sena, the breaking of the party, the taking away, the seizing of the symbol, which Uddhav ji calls stealing of the symbol. Similar thing happened to Sharad Pawar ji of the NCP. The ghadi was stolen, and now they have the tutari. So all those complications, how do you then assess a constituency or an election? So one way we thought of doing it, and this is some journalistic colleagues and I did, is that we looked at the Lok Sabha results of 2024. And why we're looking at 2024 is because, as you know, after Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra gave us very good results in terms of the secular formations. 31 out of 48 seats were won by the Mahavikas Agadi. And, arguably, there were debates about 8 seats where the votes could have been also not legally added later and all that. I won't get into the vote for democracy issue now. But anyway, there was a good performance by the opposition. And a couple of things happened in the Lok Sabha. Again, there was a late campaign by the India parties, but they got the issue of the constitution in danger. And I think a very rigorous campaign by Uddhav ji, Rahul Gandhi ji, and Sharad Pawar ji. Sharad Pawar ji at 84, crisscrossing the state, made a huge difference. Now, what we did was we looked at those results and broke them up into assembly segments. And that is what I wanted the first few minutes for. And after that, we opened up into the slogans and the issues and all that. So, as you know, Maharashtra has 288 seats. And if you break it up in this way, and I can go into regions also, the Konkan region, Konkan Thane region, the Western Maharashtra region, depending on how many details your viewers would want. But in a broad sweep, I'd like to tell you that the Mahavikas Agadi was found to be leading in 150 segments. 150 assembly segments out of 288. Based on the parliamentary elections of 2024, the MVA was leading. The Mahavikas Agadi, which consists of the Shiv Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackarey, the Indian National Congress, and the NCP Sharad Pawar. These are the prime parties. There's also CPIM, there's also CPI, there's also Peasants and Workers Party, who are part of the alliance. Now, apart from this, there are narrow margin seats. The narrow margin seats are 36, which have gone both ways. Both narrow margin in favor of the Mahayuti and narrow margin in favor of the Mahavikas Agadi. So, if you look at this position, then it was a very good position from where the opposition should have started after June 4th, 2024. What has disappointed us is the late campaigning, the late alliance. Alliance was in place, but there were so many public bickerings in the alliance partners, and the announcements of seats came extremely late. So because of that, the kind of preparation that could have been done at the ground level, according to some of us, has left us worried, because we are not sure, therefore, that the same momentum which was there in April, May, June will also hold now. Plus, there are 25 MVA Rebels. The MVA Rebels in 25 seats. There are also about 31 rebels in the Mahayuti, which nobody is talking about. But I will primarily concentrate on the campaign of the MVA, because I think that is much more our concern as civil society, who's concerned with the progressive politics. This is the land of Shivaji Maharaj, Shahu Maharaj, Phule, Ambedkar, and we want the politics of social justice to come back to the fore, We do not want slogans like batenge to katenge, etc., to dominate the discourse. And that is why I feel to understand this layout is very important. That the
Okay.
opposition began with an advantage, probably still has the advantage, but whether that advantage will show in the same way is a huge question mark for us. Huge
Okay.
question mark for us. Now, I can also
Okay.
break this up further into regions later on in the
Sure.
conversation if you want. But before that, I'd also like to tell you a couple of more things. That in the last 10 days, Uddhav Thackeray ji has been crisscrossing Maharashtra, particularly northern Maharashtra, Marathwada, and today is in western Maharashtra. Yesterday was in western Maharashtra. And the rallies are extremely well attended, very enthusiastic, and it is being commented on that the election commission has actually shown the nervousness of the ruling party by the response Uddhav ji is getting by having a extremely irregular checkup on his helicopter twice. Twice his helicopter has been checked. There's been an outrage at the ground level because of it. Because no other leader, not Modi, not Adityanath, not Amit Shah, not Fadnavis,
Mm.
have had their quote unquote helicopters checked. So, what is making the ruling alliance push the election commission to do this? Because the election commission's partisan behavior is something we are noticing in all the elections. So, his response is great. Today, Kharge ji, Mallikarjun Kharge, the president of the Indian National Congress, is in Pune. He is expected to conduct very important rallies. Rahul Gandhi was there last week in Nagpur and at one rally at BKC. We were hoping that he would be there more in Maharashtra, but somehow he's not come yet. But Mr. Sharad Pawar, at 84, has probably prepared for this election in a way that none of the three alliance partners have, because he has been
Okay.
going to far corners of the state. I think his party has got 96, 75, 86 seats. Uddhav ji has got 95, 96 seats, and Congress has got 102 seats, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, will the three alliance partners deliver? 74 seats of the 288 is where the Congress is in direct context with the BJP. That's another
Mm.
big question mark for us, because there was a good showing in North Maharashtra and
Okay.
Vidarbha and Marathwada, like I said
Okay.
in the Lok Sabha elections. If you want, I can go into details. Will the same thing hold now? Because what has been the gain from the Mahayuti side post the elections is that from July end also they suddenly saw the writing on the wall, and they started implementing a scheme like Ladki Bahin Yojana, which is the scheme for women, giving 1,500 rupees a month. They've got 2 or 3 installments, but they've given this scheme at the cost of other schemes, because they've diverted all the
Oh.
money. They put Maharashtra government into huge debt. But so will this be a game changer for some women? Is a question that is being much debated. But according to many of us who are at the ground level, we believe that farmers' distress, the question of onion farmers, soya bean farmers, cotton farmers, sugarcane
Okay.
farmers, and sugarcane laborers is something that is
Okay.
going to make a huge difference in Paschim
Mm.
Maharashtra, that is Western Maharashtra, Marathwada, North Maharashtra, and Vidarbha.
Okay.
Konkan also has a lot of farmers, paddy farmers, rice farmers, but Konkan remains a weak spot according to me for the MVA. Though traditionally it's been a
Okay.
huge hold for the Uddhavji's Sena, but whether it will be able to
Okay.
break through the absolute kind of aggressive Gundaraj kind of behavior of the Narayan Rane, Nitish Rane, and Sunil Tatkare of the Ajit Pawar NCP, we don't know. So that's the overall scenario I'm giving you. That Nana
Okay.
Patoleji, who's the Congress president for Maharashtra, is busy contesting in Bandara Gondia. Prithviraj Chavan is
Mm.
busy contesting in Karad. So we've not seen state leaders of the Indian National Congress across the state. We've seen leaders like Praniti Shinde, uh, who's a member of parliament from Sholapur, campaigning in some parts of Western Maharashtra for the Congress. But we've not seen such a visible Congress leadership campaign yet. But we've seen a
Okay.
hugely visible campaign of Sharad Pawar ji and Uddhav ji and Aditya Thackeray all over Maharashtra.
Okay.
This is a broad
I
sweep scenario. I can give you more statistics if you want. Yeah.
okay. I think the Alliance Mahavika Sagadi is being continued for the 5 years. I think. Am I
Yeah,
right,
in
ma'am?
2019, the Mahavikas Aghadi
Yes.
government was formed in October, November. And then it continued till 2022 when there was this complete swap of MLAs, and they were kidnapped and taken to Surat and then Guwahati and all of that, and that happened, that whole tamasha on 24th, 25th of June. So they've had a run from 2019 to 2022. And the most critical phase of the corona COVID pandemic, I as a citizen of Mumbai would like to say that the governance shown and the entire maturity shown and the inclusive governance shown by Uddhav Thackerey is something that impressed many citizens of Maharashtra at that time. There was no divisiveness, no corrosive governance. They took experts along. They made the Bombay Municipal Corporation, that is not a very highly regarded body because of the ineptness of the officers there. They managed to get the officers to work, and it turned out to be an extremely proactive corporation for very, very distressed citizens. So there is that working memory of that chief ministership of Uddhav Thackeray and the MVA. And of course, there is this feeling among many, many Shiv Sainiks about the way and the NCP people about how the party was broken, etc., etc.
Ma'am, you have mentioned one thing, even before we have discussed that, the governance during the COVID period, that gained the goodwill of Maratha, Mahar, as well as the Muslim community towards Uddhav Thackeray. So, is that going to help Uddhav Thackeray to regain the power?
That's the other thing I'd like to actually share with you, is because in April, May this year, some of the old Dalit leaders who were part of the Dalit Panther movement, they got together and about 65 organizations got together and formed the Progressive Republican Alliance. Okay, and they took a concerted decision as Dalit leadership of Maharashtra to support the Mahavikas Aghadi, and actually they campaigned. So that made a huge difference to the Dalit vote. Like we saw that vote transfer in the general elections in Uttar Pradesh, where we saw a lot of the shift thanks to Akhilesh Yadav's policies in Uttar Pradesh. Opening up of Uddhav Thackeray to talking to socialists, to talking to Dalit activists, to talking to Muslim leaders and secular activists, I think has been a big sort of a game changer. Much as the BJP and Fadnavis would like to embarrass Uddhav Thackeray about this new relationship, he is quite composed about it. He is quite aware about it, and he speaks about it. In fact, to quote him at a speech he made 3 days ago, which I thought was very interesting, he said in Marathi, ki आमचं हिंदुत्व चुला पेटवण्याचं आहे, घर पेटवण्याचं नाही. Meaning, my Hindutva is to light the gas stove or the kerosene stove in the home and to feed homes, not to burn homes. So he's being extremely clear about the fact that you need to have everybody with you. You need to take all populations with you. And he said, he's in fact replied to a very divisive slogan of Adityanath and Modi by saying, "Hum na batenge na katenge." Neither are we going to get divided, nor are we going to attack each other. Maharashtra has a tradition of living together, of all Bahujan communities having a negotiation and living with each other, and we will continue to do that. And whenever there are problems, we'll deal with it in a peaceful way. We will not have this aggressive, exclusive language. Even Aditya is explaining that. Even Aditya Thackeray is explaining that in interviews. So I think this is quite an interesting new emergence of the last 3 or 4 years in Maharashtra, which all of us are watching with a lot of interest. Because if you get the traditional Bahujan vote coming together with the traditional Maharashtrian vote, which was with the a section of the Maharashtrian vote at least, which was with Uddhav Thackeray, then it looks like a formidable combination. But whether the campaigning is good enough, whether the candidates are good enough, there has been a lot of mess up, like I said, in the alliance. 25 rebels are standing. So whether all of that will be, and of course, one thing I must say is I don't know what the Election Commission is doing about checking on the money that is flowing in from Gujarat, from the BJP coffers into constituencies. I mean, it is a shocking statement for Indian democracy that journalists are talking about it, Marathi channels are talking about it, Hindi channels are talking about it, but the Election Commission is not able to answer why so much money is being allowed to flow in at the time of elections. And it's obviously coming from the ruling coalition.
Okay. We will also discuss about the election commission part in the later part of this interview, ma'am.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask is the Battenge to Katenge slogan from Amit Shah and Yogi Adityanath. It seems they are consolidating non-Maratha and non-Magar votes. Will that help, and what is the social impact of that slogan, ma'am?
You know, as a young journalist friend of mine and I were talking, he's also touring Maharashtra just now. And I feel that this is not Uttar Pradesh politics, you know, this is not UP politics where there will be an immediate response to a slogan like that. Maharashtra's social composition is different. It's not that we've not had bitter communal divides in the past, we've had. But I think the issues were different. Uh, you know, the moment Adityanath said that, and his rallies in Vashim and other parts were not very well attended when he came. They were not very well attended, by the way. There are also question marks being raised that the Home Minister and the Prime Minister's rallies are not being well attended. But I won't go into that. But Adityanath said this about 8 days back. And the very next day, an alliance partner of the Mahayuti, Ajit Pawar, who's a breakaway from the, as you know, from the Sharad Pawar group, he said this
Yes.
slogan is not acceptable in Maharashtra. And he, in fact, advised Adityanath and even the Prime Minister not to come to Baramati where he is contesting. So, you know, if that is the case, and I'm not saying what I'm saying or you're saying or what Congress is saying or what Sharad Pawarji is saying, I'm talking about their own alliance partner is saying that Maharashtra and Maharashtrians are not comfortable with slogans like this. And please note, Indra, and this is what your viewers should understand, that within a day or two of his very divisive slogan of Adityanath, the Prime Minister makes a slogan that "Ek hai to safe hai," meaning he tries to change the slogan. If we are one, we will be safe. So that is what even Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray ridiculed that, saying that we are already safe. You don't have to tell us how to be safe. You look, because there's a huge resentment in Maharashtra about projects being taken away to Gujarat. There are at
Okay.
least 4 or 5 major projects. And you know, News Laundry has done a story, which is a very good
Yes.
investigation, which shows how bureaucrats sitting in Delhi, in the finance ministry, in the commerce ministry, in the PMO, are actually giving unlawful incentives to those who want to settle in Maharashtra and saying you go to Gujarat instead. So this is not a prime minister or a prime ministership which is for all of India. And Maharashtra is feeling this very, very strongly because Maharashtra is grappling with unemployment. It's grappling with a huge amount of inflation. The cost of onions are 100 rupees in Pune and Mumbai. Cost of vegetables are 80 rupees plus per kilo. It is very difficult for people to eat food. People have cut down on consumption. Consumption surveys are showing this. And I cannot believe that my Maharashtra is not talking about the price of onions, the price of food grains, the price of milk, the price of this thing, and is talking about nonsense like what is being peddled by Adityanath. I mean, what is an election about? An election should be about the rights of the people. It should be about the economic, social, and human rights of all, and the living conditions of people. So I think whether it is the Dalit population, the farmer population, the Muslim population, they're extremely concerned about their day-to-day living. And of course, for minorities like Muslims and Christians, it's also a question of existentialist survival because the brutality of the attacks and hate speech that Maharashtra has had since September 2022, within 2 months of Mahayuti taking over, and my organization CJP has complained relentlessly about it, is that the Sakal Hindu Samaj, Hindu Jan Jagrati Samiti, all these organizations are being allowed to hold meetings to vitiate the social atmosphere in Maharashtra. And this is part of a
Okay.
design that you can't offer anybody anything concrete, then you just try these divisive slogans. And when Dalits and Muslims consolidate themselves to support a secular opposition, in my mind, rightly, then they're touting terms like vote jihad, etc., etc. You know, it is do Indian citizens not have a right to decide where they want to vote? I mean, if you see a upper caste Brahmin consolidation for the RSS, is that Hindu vote jihad? What is it? You know, I mean, what kind of language have we begun to speak? So there is all these subterranean issues, which I'm really hoping, many of us are hoping that Maharashtra, with its tradition of commitment to social justice, with Shivaji Maharaj's tradition of inclusive governance, will be able to withstand this kind of divisive politics. But there is a sense of concern at the late campaign that the MVA started, and I want to stress that we are therefore worried, that we hope that the manipulations by the election commission are not there like we saw that they were there in the 2024 elections.
Okay. Um, from the beginning, or even before the elections were announced, we know that the election commission is going to be partial and the election commission is not going to take action against the ruling party. Then why the Mahavikas Aghadi is taking so much time to announce the candidates? And even after announcing the candidates, you have mentioned that 25 rebel candidates are contesting. Why
I,
is this
I,
happening, ma'am?
I wish I had an answer to that, Indra. I just don't. It is what causes a lot of frustration to citizens, to groups, and to organizations that want a decent politics to return. Now, if you look at, say, the MVA, I'll add one more thing. The MVA manifesto, the Mahavikas Aghadi manifesto, that came out about a week ago. Now, we are
Yes.
going through it. We are going through it in Marathi, in English, and Hindi. And we are finding extremely good things in that manifesto. Very good things on public health, very good things on farmers, very good things on right to food, etc. But their own leaders are not articulating their own manifesto. So,
Okay.
in the sense that we think that the best answer to this kind of divisive politics is to say, this is what we are going to offer you. Let's not talk about other things. I mean, just look at what is happening to the city of Mumbai, my city, with 1,000 acres of land being given on a platter to Adani when there's no need for it, for the so-called redevelopment of Dharavi. I just did a long interview with Mr. Paranjoy Gua Thakurta just a week ago on
Okay.
this. And
Okay.
giving a go by to all procedures. The chief secretary has signed over this land, and that is another thing that Mumbaikars want. Mumbaikar want a governance which is not ruled by a criminal political builder nexus, where huge projects are being assigned, and Mumbai, the environment, the capacity of Mumbai to host people is being ruined. You know, so there are many issues which the MBA can articulate extremely well, and it's there in their manifesto. I just wish they'll be able to say this out loud, so that, I mean, the last 2 days I've started seeing some of the MVA ads in response to the Mayuti ads. But for 2 weeks before that, we were hearing all the Mayuti ads. So the lack of preparedness in the opposition is something that worries us. I don't have an answer as to why that is the case, but one still hopes that the good sense of the people of Maharashtra will see this election through.
Okay. On another hand, Amit Shah is politically cornering Uddhav Thackeray with this past. He challenges Uddhav Thackeray whether Rahul Gandhi can say few words good about Savarkar. Isn't it politically challenging to Uddhav?
You know something? I feel that Amit Shah and Modi have a problem. They are just not able to offer anything fresh and new and hopeful to voters of this country, to voters of Maharashtra. And therefore, they're trying these gimmicks. If Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray are comfortable with the Indian National Congress, and the Indian National Congress is comfortable with them, and they worked out a way in which to deal with what happened in the past and what is now. In fact, Thackeray himself says, Aditya himself has said it to an interview on one of the channels, that was a need then, and now we have a need for this kind of inclusive Hindutva. Then I don't see what the problem is with Mr. Amit Shah. Obviously, what is seriously bothering them is the social political alliance that is coming up across. Because something we never expected, Indra, is that there would be a cohesion between Congress workers, CPM workers, and Shiv Sena workers at the grassroots level. But we are seeing that. We are
Yes.
seeing that, and it's unbelievable because I cannot believe what I'm seeing. That, for instance, in areas where there are Muslim candidates from the alliance, you find Shiv Senics campaigning with as much enthusiasm as vice versa, where Muslims are campaigning for Maharashtrian candidates. Now, I think that's a very good thing for the state. I think there will be some change with that. When I saw in the month of April and May Maharashtrian women in saris and sitting next to burqa-clad Muslim women, I said, this is the beginning of some degree of social cohesion. It's not the answer, but it's the beginning of it. So I think it's very
Yes.
hopeful. I don't know why. Obviously, it bothers Mr. Amit Shah because he loves to have people divided. He would like to have people divided by hate. rather than having people coming together with a degree of inclusiveness.
Yes, ma'am. And he's carrying the degree of hate to another level in his next speech, where he says that Congress has agreed to the Ulama Council's demand for Muslim reservation. Patole has agreed to end the reservation for
Should
SC,
we
ST, and
should we
OBCs and give it to
should
Muslims.
we on your channel give him so much space when obviously they are performing lies and mistruths? I mean, there is no
Yes.
such development in the Congress. Congress has never promised any such thing. But we know that the Bharatiya Janata Party and the RSS politics depends on misconstructs and lies. So why should we devote time to a complete misnomer of an accusation coming from an home minister who should be worried about law and order and creating social cohesion in this country and not social division? Because
Exactly, ma'am.
I think to say I think to attribute these kind of things to the Congress party with all their other faults is a complete falsehood, because they have never made this kind of promise. I mean, the Congress has made
Yes.
many mistakes in the past, and we are the first to say so, but this is certainly not one of them. In fact, it was the Manmohan Singh government that appointed the Ranganath Mishra Commission. I would advise the Home Minister of this country to go through the Ranganath Mishra Commission, because it
Okay.
talked of reservation on the basis of caste divisions, not on the basis of community. And the Ranganath Mishra Commission happened during the UPA 1 and 2 period. So, I mean, why are we kind of getting into this debate on sloganeerings which are based on falsehoods? Based on
Ah,
falsehood. Unfortunately, the media in this country does not do the job that it's supposed to do. I'm not talking about your channel. I'm talking about the mainstream media
of course, I
that
understand.
that telecasts the home minister without questioning him. In fact, if the mainstream media, particularly television, were to do a little bit of homework and read the Ranganath Mishra Commission report, maybe they would understand what the UPA 2 politics was about, UPA 1 politics was about.
Of course. You have pointed it rightly, ma'am. We should not devote such a time to the fake narratives. But the thing is, the election commission should be taking action against these kind of fake narratives. The Ulama Council never placed such a demand to end the SC, ST or OBC reservation. Congress never promised to end that kind of OBC, SC, ST reservation. Even they are not promising for the Muslim reservation also. It is already there. So the Amit Shah and the BJP are manufacturing fake news even in their campaigns, but there is no single notice to them. Even in the Lok Sabha elections, they have sent notice to the party president, but now there is no such thing is happening. And another thing I'm noticing is that, ma'am, in the south, when the final phases of the Lok Sabha elections were happening, we were discussing it much wider. And even after that, when the Haryana elections were happening, we were discussing that. But now, during the Maharashtra and Jharkhand elections, there is no such news storm into the Tamil or regional news channels of South India. How is it happening? How do you see that?
This is the problem with the normalization of hate. I call it the
Hmm.
normalization of hate in the media. That today media is hate has become a part of media design, because the quote unquote entrenched commercial media television channels, including the more established ones like NDTV, India Today, and others, just repeat narratives which are peddled by political leadership but do not spare time in busting them. The point you're making, they should be actually busting them. I feel extremely sad as a citizen of this country who campaigned when I was 16 years old, 15 years old, against the emergency. And we managed to get all 6 seats in Bombay then, now it's Mumbai, for the Janata Party. I remember at that time, there was a concern that we should get the Congress out, but there was no worry that the Election Commission will not do its job. Even during the
Hmm.
emergency, there was no questions on the partisan behavior of the Election Commission. Please understand, Indra, what I'm saying. You're such a young journalist, you're so good, that the kind of hollowing out of the Election Commission has been the singular contribution of the Modi government. And I think this is something I feel extremely disappointed even with parties, not just the MVA, but even the DMK and Mr. Stalin, who takes such principled issues on so many issues. Why are opposition parties not questioning consistently and aggressively the partisan behavior of the Election Commission. Mr. Hemant Soren, while campaigning in Jharkhand, made a statement, and I really think it's very apt. I said it in Hindi. He said, the kind of hatred that the BJP leaders espouse is more than 100 snakes in a forest, the poison, the hate poison that they espouse. And so he's saying it because he's fighting for his survival in Jharkhand. But should not at the same time, Akhilesh Yadav, MK Stalin, Rahul Gandhi, all of them talking about this kind of hate that is being spewed in Jharkhand. The way Himanto Biswa Sharma, the way Amit Shah, the way Modi have campaigned in Jharkhand is a shame, is an absolute national shame, and the Election Commission should have acted on them on their own without anybody filing complaints. Similarly, by the way, their campaign in Maharashtra is slightly more toned down. It's not so vicious as Jharkhand. But I really believe that the Election Commission today has lost complete faith of the people. There was a survey done by CSDS, I think, I'm not sure which agency, before the Lok Sabha election. It said that only 28% of Indians have faith in the Election Commission. Now, should the Election Commission be concerned about this or not? Should the previous election commissioners who were independent and whom we all looked up to, I don't want to take their names, should they not be speaking up more now? In November 2023, a Supreme Court bench headed by Justice K.M. Joseph gave a judgment saying that the appointment of the Election Commission should include the Chief Justice of India's opinion. This government overturned that through an ordinance and a law. This government does not believe in constitutional functioning. It believes in completely eroding all the institutions of democracy. I hope I made myself clear. My point is that the credibility of the Election Commission is at an all-time low, unfortunately. And it's because people still want change. They want a change in government, but despite their lack of faith in the Election Commission, they are still involving themselves actively in the election process. I wish the political opposition would be more cognizant of the dangers that exist.
Yes, of course. You have pointed out so many issues that are in and around the Maharashtra elections and that citizens of India we should be concerned about. Thank you for spending the time with us and giving us this interview, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.